Hey guys, welcome back. It's Jadyn and we're here to do another reading. This reading is going to be a full moon reading because today, December 12th at 12:12 a.m., there's a full moon in Gemini. I personally love the angel number 1212. I see it almost daily, but to me what that number means and what this full moon is actually coming to mean to me based on readings and what other astrologists, I said other astrologists, but astrologists have said, because I am not an astrologist, what they've said about it is that it's going to prompt you to release everything that gets in your way. So I'm just really excited to see how it propels us forward. Personally, whenever I see the number, it's like, get off your ass and get to work, because the only person standing in the way between you and your goals is you. But with all that being said, I'm going to do a general reading for the full moon for the entire collective. So let's get started. The first question is, what do we need to release? So just gonna pull a few cards for that. One more card for what we need to release. So what we need to release, the first thing that came out was the Knight of Pentacles reversed. So with the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, that's, first of all, the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving energy in the deck. But in reverse, it almost becomes like stagnant. Think of you knowing that you need to do something, and like, yes, you know it's going to take time, it's going to take effort, it's going to take you doing things carefully so they can get done right. Think earth energy, especially. I'm a Taurus, so you know, when I think of earth energy, it's like, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it right, so it may take some time to get there. But in the reverse, it's like either you're procrastinating, or it's like, you know, you just hit a blockage where you're not pushing yourself to overcome it. And since this is something that we need to release, it's like we need to let go of procrastination, we need to let go of stagnancy, and letting ourselves get complacent about where we are, especially when it comes to our goals. The next card, we have 10 of Swords in reverse. To me, this is a refusal to let go of any ideas, programming, thoughts, doubts, fears that don't allow you to move forward. So this is basically like killing yourself by, not even killing yourself, but just holding yourself back, thinking of all past mistakes, thinking of that one time that one person said something that you didn't like. It's time to let all of that go. Even things that, you know, you've internalized, or something you've just seen, you were like looking through the magazines and you're like, oh, look at or comparing yourself, and you're just like, look at this person doing all of this, what am I doing? Instead of internalizing like, oh, I'm not doing enough, it's like, how can I, you know, put these thoughts aside and actually do what I need to do? I feel like with the Knight of Pentacles and the 10 of Swords being right next to each other, it's a really good way to say, like, how can I move past and push myself forward despite being afraid, despite what naysayers have to bring to me? What can I do to move forward? And honestly, my favorite quote right now is, everything you want is on the other side of fear, because it's true. A lot of the things that we really want, a lot of things that we really desire and really want to bring into our lives, they come with us facing some type of fear, or like having to take a risk. And if you don't take the risk, if you don't push past that fear, are you ever going to get to where you want to be? Okay, next card, we have the 6 of Pentacles. So the 6 of Pentacles to me is about making sure that your time, energy, all that love, all the value that you bring, making sure it goes to the right places, the right people in the right places. A lot of the times we can find ourselves giving and giving and giving to situations or people or things that aren't really reciprocating any of that energy back. And at the end of the day, we feel drained. At the end of the day, it's like, wow, I do all of this for other people, but it's time for you to, you know, look at your role in that type of situation. Like, you're the one who continues to give your energy to everyone else. Even when you've been given multiple pieces of evidence that these people are not going, or these things are not giving you what you need back. And so it's up to you to be like, okay, well, I'm done giving my energy to this situation. I'm done giving my energy to this person. It's time for me to, you know, look for other places. And even if I need to be alone for a little bit, even if, you know, you need to like have a hermit mode and reassess what you need from people, what you need from your workplace, what you need from whatever it is in your life, then that's okay, as long as you're not consistently giving to things that are just taking from you, you know? We have the Star card. The Star card, and it's in the reverse as well. The Star card to me is about, you know, you wish on a star, you pray, you talk to your higher power, whoever that may be, and you ask for something. But as soon as it doesn't come when you want it to, or how you want it to come, you're like, oh, you're losing faith. You're like, no, I don't even want it anymore. Or, you know, like, it's just not meant to be. I don't deserve this. But what you need to release is that process, that mindset where it's like, if things don't happen when I want, how I want, then it's not gonna happen at all. Because the biggest thing, and like the Star card talks about this, is divine timing. Things are going to happen when they're going to happen for a certain reason. You have no idea what's happening behind the scenes. You don't know what your spirit guides are doing. You don't know what your ancestors have in store for you. You don't know what God has in store for you. You know what the angels are doing. They could be setting things up to be 10 times better for you, but because it didn't happen, you know, in the way that you wanted, you're like, oh, it's not happening at all. You start sending mixed signals out, and, you know, the universe, God, everyone is like, well, what are we supposed to do? You said you wanted this thing. You said to make something shake. But when I'm over here behind the scenes trying to make something shake, turning down that opportunity so you can get this even better opportunity that's even more in alignment with you, you start saying, oh, it's not for me, it's not made for me, or I don't deserve this, when it's like, you just need to be patient. You just need to be patient and remain faithful, and faithful not in like the relationship sense, but like faithful as in you put your faith into something and you leave it there. It's like when you think about faith, when you think about belief systems, when you put your faith into something, it's like even when things are bad, you know that thing, that person, that entity is there for you. And if you're so bent on, you know, trying to control the situation, then you're kind of removing your faith from it, if that makes sense. And then we have the Knight of Cups. I feel like this card, and it came out last, let me look at the bottom of the deck too, but this card talks about the Lovers in reverse on the bottom of the deck. This talks about any person, any soul connection, any emotional connection that you have that was not serving you. This could be someone who's manipulative, or you know, you definitely had that connection when it came to emotional fulfillment, or, you know, you guys felt like you were bonded, but whatever that is, it's time for it to be released. So something I like to say about soul connections, soulmates, one, there's multiple types. So this could be a friend, this could be a job that you really just enjoyed in the moment, but it's starting to drain you. But you have to start paying attention to what you need in any given moment. And when I say that, I mean, like, you are constantly evolving, you are constantly growing, changing, and it's so important for you to check in with where you're at so you can see if the things around you and the things that you're going for are still in alignment with you. This Knight, he was cool, he was great. He came and he changed the way you thought about certain things, but at the end of the day, some people are really only here for seasons. And if you allow yourself to remain attached and refuse to let go of, you know, certain situations because you have that emotional attachment to them, you're only holding yourself back. This is a Knight. What about the King? Where's the king at? Where's my king at? Let's do that. Oh, look at Bailey all snuggled up. Bells, everyone. Bells, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, with this Lovers in Reverse card, it really does feel like it's time for certain soul connections to be like, you need to cut the cord. You need to cut the cord because you really don't know what else is out there for you, especially when certain things aren't, like, you guys aren't even in alignment anymore. You guys don't want the same things in the long term or the short term. You guys are fighting about the little things, or like you can't even have a regular conversation without it feeling forced. You go to work and you're drained every day, and you can't figure out why you're always in a bad mood. Like, you need to really make sure that things are in alignment with you. Emotional attachment does not mean that it's going to stay there forever. It just means that you got a little attached. Okay, so that's what we need to release. We leave it out, actually, with this full moon. So if you haven't done your full moon intentions, I like personally just like to write down everything I want to release for a full moon. I burn it. Some people say to bury the ashes. I like to watch them blow off in the wind. Just however you need to release things, you need to do that. This is such a powerful moon. Like, I could feel this shift happening all week. I've been tired all week. All of my friends have been noticing I've been going to sleep early, and so waking up at like 11. I usually wake up like 7 naturally. So use this energy. So we talked about what we need to release. What do we need to expand on? Queen of Wands. Okay. It's like there's one card that is like staying at a perfect angle. And there it went. So at the bottom of the deck, we have the Sun in reverse. So with the Sun in reverse, I feel like we need to start looking at the bigger picture. A lot of the times, you can either be so focused on the big picture that you miss the details, and at other times it's like you're so focused on the small details of how is it going to happen, when is it going to happen, is it going to happen the way I want it to, that you're missing the bigger picture. The big picture is that you're asking to be happy, you're asking to be in a certain position in life, you're asking for enlightenment. But if you get so stuck on the who, what, why, and when, are you going to, like, you could end up missing the entire point of what you're doing. You get so caught up in the minute details that you're like, oh, you kind of forget why you're even doing it in the first place. So what we need to expand on, we have the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands to me is all about finding your passions, finding your determination. The Queen of Wands, this energy is someone who like just intuitively knows what's going to drive them, what's going to really push them to go further. Am I missing anything with this? I feel like it's time for us to really put things aside and just climb, to actually do the work. If you look at this card, it's like she's standing on the top of this hill with her foot on it. She's here to conquer. And I feel like what we're going to be expanding in this cycle is definitely that feeling of, I'm going to grind this. I'm going to put my head down, get back to work, and do what I need to do. Because it's something that you're passionate about. But what we're also doing with this moon card is working on our shadow side. A lot of times people can get a little afraid of working on those things that, don't necessarily make them happy. like, you know, going back into your childhood, seeing why you do the things that you do, really unpacking your responses to things, especially if they seem disproportionate to what actually happened, really going back and seeing where you learned this behavior. It's like, if you want to conquer anything in life, you have to conquer yourself. You have to master yourself. You have to know yourself, why you do the things that you do. Because even if you can't, like, you're not going to change overnight. You're not going to suddenly forget all these things that you've internalized. But if you're not willing to look yourself in the mirror and actually have a conversation about what it is that's holding you back, how are you going to conquer anything? Ask yourself the hard questions. We always want to wait for other people to ask the hard questions, or, you know, bury things until it really becomes a problem. But if we actually just sat there and faced things for what they were, where could we be? Like, how far could you be if you just faced the things holding you back instead of pushing them aside? And it's so funny because it came out underneath the Ten of Swords in reverse. That refusal to let go of internalizations, thoughts, fears, harmful ideas, things that aren't serving you anymore. It's time for you to really face them. Ask those hard questions. Okay, so we have the Nine of Swords in reverse. I think this is such an interesting portrayal of the Nine of Swords. You see that she's in a fatal position. I said a fetal position. Something like some place that you want to feel safe, but to be stuck in your head, constantly repaying certain fears, harmful ideas, anxieties, probably about things that haven't even happened yet. Telling yourself you don't deserve something because it didn't happen just the way that you thought it would. It's time for you to, I feel like, especially because this is in the expand section, and it's right next to the moon card. Why are you thinking these things? And it's in the reverse, so you're coming out of it. This is the energy of coming out of overthinking and staying up all night and, you know, not being able to find peace because you're so worried about these things. But at the same time, like I said before, if you're not asking yourself the hard questions and digging deep and seeing and like finding the root of these thoughts, these ideas, then it can only move so far away from you. Like, you can only push it so far away unless you actually do the work to release it fully. So I feel like this is like, you need to expand and go deeper as you release this energy. You need to be able to look at your thoughts, maybe meditate, get grounded, spend some time in nature. If you're on the East Coast like me, it's a little colder, so it's hard to, you know, brace yourself. I'm a spring baby. I don't like the cold, y'all. So I'll be avoiding outside. Bailey is the reason. Bailey better be happy I love you. But do make time to practice grounding. Grounding yourself and, you know, getting clear on what you want and monitoring your thoughts and really, you know, analyzing them, taking your thoughts and like spinning it around, like, how did we get here? Why do I think this way? If you talk to yourself negatively or you're really bent on criticism, ask yourself, would you talk to a child like that? Because in this life, the older I get, I'm 22, the older I get, I'm realizing that people do not have it all figured out. Everyone has their own traumas, and really we're just kids. We're all just kids trying to figure this out. So as you work to unlearn and reparent yourself, be careful, be kind, be compassionate, because the more you get that to yourself, the more you can push that out to others, and the more it's going to be reflected back to you as well. But yeah, with this Nine of Swords, I feel like it's time for us to really get serious about understanding why we do the things that we do, why we have the thoughts that we have. I definitely suggest meditation. If you haven't tried meditation, it's something that changed my life. I think I started off with Headspace, with their free plan, and then right now I have a Breathe. I think it's called Breathe. I'll link it down below because I like that it has guided ones. You can pay for the upgrade, but they give you a nice little check-in to see how you're feeling emotionally, how you're feeling physically, and they suggest different guided meditations for you. And even if you don't want to get an app, YouTube has so much free information. Google has so much free information. Sometimes if I'm feeling like, let's say the other day I was feeling like I couldn't get on here and read, and I just listened to a throat chakra healing. I literally searched that on YouTube, found a very nice 9-hour long track that I could just meditate to and try to work on that and see what it was that was holding me back from actually getting on the screen and talking to you guys, because this is what I want to do with my life. But yeah, meditation, getting grounded, really looking at your thoughts and being analytical, not to criticize yourself, but to truly understand and find peace. So expand on that with the 5 of Cups in reverse. The 5 of Cups is literally, every time I see it, I just think of crying over spilled milk. It's in reverse, so it's like you're finally moving on and accepting things for what they are, understanding that some things cannot be brought back. And I feel like what they're asking, what the cards are asking, what the spirit's asking with this card, is that we really sit with things that we cannot control. So, like, some things are not going to stay with us forever. I saw a wonderful tweet. I wish I could remember who it was, but it was like, we need to, especially in 20s, but like, I feel like at all times, you know, fully go for things and reach for the stars and like really go for it, put our all behind it, but also have a loose enough grip for when that it's not suiting us anymore and it's not in alignment with us anymore. We can let it go with grace, because letting things go does not have to be it does not have to be so volatile. It doesn't have to be so hard. It doesn't have to be so hurtful. You don't have to part ways with things with anger, with resentment. Things can come to an end in a very kind and loving place. You can always have love in your heart for things if you're able to just realize that things aren't working or things aren't in alignment with you. Things aren't for you in that moment, and when you let go of things peacefully, it's so good for your karma, because instead of lashing out and trying to hurt someone because it's just not working anymore, you're able to really come together and understand and part ways as, you know, as loving people. And that goes with anything, not just people, but, you know, jobs. You don't have to just quit and tell everybody about themselves. You can say, like, this wasn't for me, and I'm grateful for all the lessons that I learned, but it's time for me to move on. You do that with people. You do that with just sections of your life, aspects of yourself. Even like, one thing that just came to mind was, if you're having trouble forgiving yourself for not knowing certain things, you cannot be mad at yourself for not knowing something. You can't be mad at yourself for going through a process that taught you what you know now and got you to where you are right now. It's so imperative that we're compassionate, that we are, you know, just accepting of the give and take, the ebb and flow of life. Because, oh wow, I just saw a tweet about Mariah Carey, and it's just like, it's just about metamorphosis, you know, like evolution. Things happen when they happen. They have to. All right, sorry about that. Someone came in the house and Bailey went a little crazy. But okay, I was on the 2 of Cups. So the 2 of Cups, and it's in the reverse. 2 of Cups in the reverse just talks about the breakdown of a relationship, a connection, anything that, you know, you found emotional fulfillment in. And I feel like, as I was ranting about the 5 of Cups in reverse and how you can really just choose to accept when things have come to an end, really like accepting that there are certain things that are out of your control. It's the same thing with accepting that it's okay to be by yourself. It's okay to, you know, decide that you don't want things or people anymore. It's okay to accept the fact that sometimes things aren't working out and you have to move forward, instead of, you know, attempting to you know, try and figure things out and just force yourself to go through another cycle of you being upset or unhappy, when you could just let things be what they are, with the 5 of Cups in reverse, and let things fall away. Okay, so that's what we need to expand on. So as a recap, just being determined and really going after what we want, what we're passionate about, asking ourselves the hard questions. So, and you know, taking time to really analyze our thoughts and the programming that we have, so we can really put things to rest. And then just accepting things for what they are, accepting when things have to come to an end, accepting when things are no longer serving us. So I forgot that I wasn't recording after I had to cut it off, but I pulled the next 5 cards, which were the Magician in reverse, the 5 of Wands in reverse, the Queen of Swords, the Ace of Wands in reverse, and the King of Pentacles in reverse. So this set of cards is talking about what this cycle is bringing us. And the bottom of the deck is the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. I feel like the 10 of Pentacles being at the bottom of the deck for this section is just speaking to us reevaluating what is going to be valuable to us. There's a lot of times that we can work really hard for something and, you know, put our all into something only to get to the end and realize it's not even worth all the work you just did. But the fact of the matter is, how can you figure out what's really worth it for you, what's going to really truly make you happy until you actually get there? Like, it's going to help you in the long run, because you can look back at the patterns and decide, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. I've done this before, it didn't really satisfy me the way that I thought I would, but right now there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be things that you're like, okay, well, I really didn't need to do anything. And I hate that I even called it a mistake, because it still brought you to where you are right now. It's like I was saying in the previous section with what we need to expand, it's like sometimes you have to go through something. Like, you can't be mad at yourself for not knowing something, you know? You can't be mad at yourself for you know, not knowing what this lesson literally was there to teach you. It taught you, didn't it? And you know now, and you can't just sit there and be mad at yourself or mad at what happened, when it brought you enlightenment. It brought you clarity. It brought you to a point where you could do more or do differently. So with that being said, I feel like this cycle is definitely going to force us to reevaluate what is valuable in our lives. If we've done anything in this past year, or honestly, I feel like the past half year has been really intensive with lessons, and so we're going to go back and look. It's like studying for an exam. It's like you go back and you look at the key points and the highlights and the lessons that you learned, and then you apply them. It's going to be a time for you to sit there and start to apply what you've learned in the past last half year. So the Queen of Swords came out first. This cycle is going to bring us a plan. It's going to force us to really, you know, sit down and create a plan that is realistic. And also it's going to force us to create boundaries for ourselves. Boundaries to protect ourselves and our energy, but also boundaries and guidelines for how we act and interact with the people in our lives, and how they're going to interact with us. So as we're reevaluating what's valuable, as we're releasing the energy of giving to things and people that do not reciprocate, it's going to be so important for us to just sit down and say, this is what I'm no longer going to tolerate. But also the Queen of Swords, she makes a plan. It's a plan of attack. So we're supposed to be conquering something. Remember, we have the Queen of Wands. We're conquering something. If you don't have a plan, if there's no plan, then how are you really going to be so successful? The next card was the Ace of Wands in reverse. It's like it's not enough just to have an idea. It's not enough just to be passionate about something. Are you going to do the work? Are you going to, you know, really sit there and make things happen for yourself? Okay. The next cards we have the King of Pentacles in reverse. The King of Pentacles in reverse to me just states that, you know, sometimes we can get a little too focused on what looks good on paper, what looks good, like all that glitters isn't gold. So it's like the King of Pentacles is all about providing for someone, providing for your family, or like just, I feel like in this sense it's just like you want to have money in the bank, you want to be materially abundant. And of course, we are always striving to be abundant, and we're always attracting that towards us. But when you get in your idea that that's all that matters, you're missing out on so much more, because there's so many other things that are valuable to you. Human connection, love. We want to see just peace, general peace. If you're going after the bag and the bag is stressing you out day and night and you can't sleep at night, is the bag really worth it for you? You have to ask yourself those questions. And so with the King of Pentacles being in reverse, it's like that feeling of knocking you off your balance so you can really assess these things. Like I said, the bottom of the deck is Ten of Pentacles in reverse. We're reassessing what is valuable. We have the Magician in reverse. This is a reminder that, you know, you are the controller. You are the creator of your life. You are the one who has the reins. You're the pilot. So when things aren't going wrong, yes, there's a million other factors of why things could be going wrong, but have you really taken a good look at yourself and your actions and what you could be doing to perpetuate or continue certain patterns and cycles? And if you're not, how can you expect things to change? We had, like, the Magician, to me, it's like, in the upright, it's like as above is below. My thoughts, my mind, my mindset is what's controlling my surroundings. And it's also about having all the resources to make a change and, you know, really get what I want started. So when it's in the reverse, it's like you're either ignoring the resources you have to make a change, or you're so stuck in your head and doubting yourself that you won't even allow yourself to make an effort. So we also have the Five of Wands in reverse. With all the releasing that we're about to do, especially when it comes to the Six of Pentacles, giving to things that are reciprocating to us, making things balanced, and then releasing all ideas and programming that no longer serve us, there's going to be a lot less conflict, internal conflict. You know, when you're fighting yourself against your head and your heart, it's like, you know, when you remove all of the white noise, all of the things that aren't serving you, and all the people who are just taking from you, suddenly it's so much easier to make a decision. So it's like suddenly everything's so much clearer now. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. Dun, dun, dun. But, and it's also going to clear up a lot of space in your life. It's going to, you know, you're going to start, people may start falling away, especially if you're going through a spiritual awakening. This is definitely a time for spiritual awakenings. If you're going through another download, like you're going on another level of a spiritual awakening, people may start falling away, and that's okay, because there's going to be a lot less conflict in your life. We're moving away from conflict. Like I said, I feel like this full moon energy it's all about peace. It's removing all of the blockages and all of the naysayers so that you can do what you want to do and achieve what you want to achieve, but also so you can go to sleep peacefully at night and wake up in the morning with a smile on your face. So that's what this cycle is bringing us. I want to pull, let's see, I don't know how many cards I'm going to pull from it, but I'm going to pull some cards from the Work Your Life Oracle deck. I may or may not read, ooh, that flew. I may or may not read directly from the book for all of them because they're a little lengthy, but if one really speaks to me and that you need to hear the whole meaning of a card, I will definitely do that. But a lot of them I can tell you what they mean. The first one, trust your path. If you knew you were supported, what would you do? If you knew 100% that you would not fail, and that, you know, your spirit guides and angels and the people around you are going to really support you and, you know, help you bring this into fruition, materialize whatever you want, what would you put your mind to? And then remember that you always have full support. Okay. Bottom of the deck is what lights you up. I don't read these in reversals, by the way. With the starseed, what lights you up, I feel like this is, again, what are you passionate about? Are you in alignment with the things that truly make you happy? Because if not, then what are you really working for? With that King of Pentacles and what the cycle's bringing you, and the Ten of Pentacles being in reverse, they're both in reverse. It's like, are you really willing to make sacrifices of your happiness, of your joy, of, you know, being able to find peace for a bag, or for, you know, connections that aren't even really feeding you emotionally or in any way, and watering you so that you can grow even further? Are you really going to sacrifice your joy, your happiness, your peace for those things? What lights you up? Go after that. We already did trust your path. What would, like, literally, what would you do? And then right next to it, we have Akasha. Your guidance is divinely guided. So it's like, with these two cards and like them coming out right next to each other, to me, it's just like, what would you do if you were supported? Know that you're being supported. Know that you're being guided. And then we have take a break. A life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. I feel like this full moon, as much as it's calling us to release and also just expand on certain ideas and forcing you to really get to know certain parts of yourself, it's going to require work, and you can't just sit there and go. You will burn out. Take breaks. Find peace. Meditate. Get grounded. These are all things that you're going to have to do if we want to be successful. Everyone used to say, like, oh, sleep's for the dead, but sleep is for the living. Sleep is for the living. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. Like I said, happy 12/12. Full moon in Gemini. It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait to see where this is going to propel us. If you're interested in booking a private reading with me, go ahead and reach out to me either through ascendanceheals@gmail.com. You can follow my Instagram and Twitter at Ascendance Heals and DM me, or there's going to be something I'm going to talk to you guys in my next reading. I'm so excited to talk about this opportunity I have. So with all that being said, like, subscribe, share, follow the pages. Yeah, it's going to be a blast.